We live in a world that is full of adaptations. Film critics estimate that somewhere between 40 and 50% of major motion pictures were adapted from novels. But adapting content is difficult, especially when it is transduced from one mode to another. According to Laura Hutchin in A Theory of Adaptation, the more popular and beloved the novel, the more likely the discontent. The key to a good film adaptation is that it must stay true to the essence of the original story to please a knowing audience, and also be able to stand alone to please the unknowing audience. This is because it's not easy to transfer something that exists solely in the textual world to a simplified script consisting of mainly dialogue, and then turn that script into a film, complete with visuals, audio, and effects. The process of transferring material, in this case a story, from one mode to a different mode is called transduction, or as Bessemer and Kress define it, the move of semiotic material from one mode to another. In this video, I will investigate how novels are transduced from book to script to film, or when we break it down by category, from a genre of text to a different genre of text to audio and visuals. To do this, I will focus specifically on the Harry Potter series as a model, because not only is it iconic, but the novels have been adapted into notably successful films, averaging $850 million per film in box office worldwide. Based on its success, I would say that the Harry Potter series is transduction done well. When adapting a book to film, the first step is to generate a script. This isn't a mode transfer, but a genre transfer that will prepare the mode to be more easily transduced to film. Usually, a script is a very condensed, simplified version of the text. Let's look at a scene from the beginning of the second novel, Chamber of Secrets, where we meet Dobby. As you can tell, the book is much more thorough in its detail of this first meeting, while the script keeps it simple. It also adds a minor difference. In the script, Dobby is jumping on the bed. Differences like these exist for the sake of quick characterization. Dobby is immediately a whimsical and comical character in the film because the film doesn't have the time to let his characterization unfold like the novel does. While the genre transformation from novel to script sacrifices detail for time, it gains flexibility in terms of what it can show. The novel is linear and focuses on one scene per setting, but the film has the ability to go back and forth between settings in a way that makes sense. In the book, Dobby bangs his head on the window, but in the film, he bangs his head on the shelves, creating a reverberating banging noise that spreads to the rest of the house. This then serves as a transition for the setting to switch. The script has the opportunity to cut to a different setting, downstairs where the Dursleys are entertaining guests. In a book, this might come across as choppy or confusing, but the script has greater flexibility, which creates for a more humorous and dynamic scene. Something I learned while doing this research was that the process of adapting a book to a film is not a linear process. At first, I thought that the text in a novel was transduced to a script, and then the script was transduced into film. But there are nuanced elements from the book that show up in the film without being mentioned in the script. When we compare the film and the script, notice all of the nuances left out in the script.
Equal. You can't have met many decent wizards then.
No, I haven't. That was an awful thing to say. Bad Dobby!
Stop,
Bad
Dobby.
Dobby! Bad
Dobby,
Dobby!
Dobby, please stop.
Oh, don't mind that. It's just the cat.
Bad Dobby! Bad
Stop, Dobby. Please be quiet. Are you all right?
In the film, Harry pleads with Dobby to stop him from hurting himself. This doesn't show up in the script, but it's originally embedded in the text. If the film had followed the script perfectly, the scene would have come off less natural because Harry would have been silently watching a small creature violently hit his head and cause loud noises, which wouldn't necessarily make sense. Also, notice Dobby's appearance and mannerisms.
Oh, yes, sir. Dobby understands. It's just that Dobby has come to tell you it is difficult, sir.
The only description provided by both the novel and the script is that he has large, drooping, bat-like ears and bulging eyes. The film creators had to fill in a lot of gaps, such as skin tone, build, nose shape, and even more difficult, his mannerisms and voice. To do this, they had to transduce textual features about Dobby. For example, the fact that he is small might logically mean he has a higher pitched voice. The fact that he is a servant in a bad household might mean he should be old and tired looking. Film has to fill in a lot of gaps that weren't necessarily in the text that it's based from, but filmmakers can use the context of the text as a clue for what these gaps should look like. That is why the lexicon founder and editor, Steve Vander Ark, says that the Harry Potter films are just expensive fan fiction. That is, they are simply a creative exploration of the novel. Because the films have to fill in the gaps, they become mere interpretations of the books. Philip Nell puts it, just as the characters debate the meaning of the clues, the films enter into a debate on the meanings of the novels. Another major liberty that the film has that the text does not are the frames and angles. Notice how every time we see Dobby, we are looking down on him, but when we see Harry, we are looking up. Camera angles can show power dynamics. In this instance, that Harry has power over Dobby in a way that text can't. What text can add in details and verbiage, video can provide in nuances. According to Lawrence Raw's paper, Remediating Adaptations, there is a potential of the frame that can either contain an image or connect the image to the viewer's space, and thereby forge a close link between the filmgoers and the work of art that they are viewing. Images and audio can intimately connect readers to a story with clarity and realism. Notice how the film conveys a shift in power dynamics later on in the scene.
Dobby, get back here. Dobby, please, no. Harry Potter must say he's not going back to school.
I can't. Hogwarts is my home.
Then Dobby must do it, sir. For Harry Potter's own good.
And one plumber said, look at all that water. And the second plumber said, yes, and that's just the top of it.
I'm so sorry. It's my nephew. He's very disturbed. Meeting strangers upsets him. That's why I kept him upstairs.
Dobby now has the power over Harry, as he has the ability to drop the cake on the guests and ruin Harry's aunt and uncle's dinner party. The film shows Dobby at a more eye-level angle and with a smirk on his face, which diminishes the perception that Dobby is powerless. When we go back and look at the same scene in the novels, the text actually seems more brief than the film. Film has the advantage of drawing out dramatic moments in a way that books can't. Text tends to follow the same rhythm throughout, and if the author sets something up to happen in the next moment, it's difficult to draw that moment out for suspense. Film has the ability to play with time. Notice that in the text, the pudding is supposed to fall on the floor and Harry should be covered in it as a sign of guilt. In the film, it was a cake, and it was dropped on a guest's head. The essence of the situation is the same, but the changes that were made are more visual. Cake is easier to recognize than pudding, and dropping the cake on the guest's head is far more funny and suspenseful to watch than just dropping it on the floor. In this way, when text is transferred to visual format, details need to be changed in order for the experience to have the same impact. Text, audio, and images are inherently different modes with different affordances and limitations. When a story is transduced from novel to script to film, details and verbiage are sacrificed for time and clarity, but the film has opportunities that the novels don't in the way of frames and angles. Films also have the freedom to fill in the gaps not provided in the text by reading into the context and capturing the essence of the books. Thus, films are simply interpretations of the text and by no means definitive. However, once an adaptation is realized, it inevitably adds meaning to the story. Thanks for watching.